Alright, now one of my favorite laptops of last year was the Realme Book Slim. I mean, I've been using that laptop as my daily driver, or at least I was using that as my daily driver for the longest time that I can remember, using a review unit. And yeah, that basically suited my use case for a creative person perfectly, almost perfectly. I mean, there were certain things that were limiting, and to fix those gaps, this thing came out. Now, this is the Lenovo Slim 5i Pro. Obviously, that's a very bad name. But anyway, let's skip the naming convention and talk about the laptop itself. So basically, if I have to give you a very brief review of this laptop, it's the Realme Book Slim, but a bit more professional with, well, more important ports. And yeah, overall, I've been using this as my machine of choice for the last 1 month, and I faced no issues whatsoever. And I think that this is the perfect machine for a lot of business users as well as creative users who like to work on the go. Why do I say that? Well, that's what this video is all about. This is Varun from GTR, and you're watching my in-depth review of the Lenovo Slim 5i Pro. Let's get started. Alright, so let's start off by talking about the design here. Now, this laptop comes in a very muted tone, which I kind of prefer because, this thing looks very professional. There's a very subtle Lenovo branding here, and that's about it. No flashy logos or something like that. And the overall look of it is very professional. Now, I know a lot of folks will say that, gray laptops look very boring. And I mean, yeah, I cannot disagree with that statement. They obviously do look boring when you compare it with other laptops that are like silver or blue like Realme, or I don't know, pink like MacBooks. But yeah, if I have to look at it from a professional standpoint, I think I would still go for something like this. Now, the laptop in itself has a metallic build and weighs just 1.3 kg. So yeah, it's very portable. And there's also a very sturdy hinge here, something that we often see a lot of laptop manufacturers miss out on. But yeah, the sturdy hinge here does really help when you're trying to use this laptop on the go. Now, in terms of connectivity, on the left side, you get a USB Type-C port, a full-size HDMI port, another Type-C port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Over to the right side, you get two USB 3.2 ports and a full-size SD card reader. Now, unlike Realme and Xiaomi and other brands in the same price segment, this thing does not come with Thunderbolt 4 support. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I do appreciate the fact that you do get a full-size SD card reader here. I mean, that thing comes in very handy for someone like me, because I've been using this as my machine for content creation as well. Like, obviously not video editing, but I use Photoshop on this quite extensively. And I'll talk about that in the performance section. But yeah, this SD card reader here is a very welcome addition. Also, one more thing I wanted to highlight is that both of these Type-C ports support charging. You only get the charging indicator on this side, but yeah, both of them can be used for charging the laptop, so that's good. Alright, so next up we have this amazing panel here. So yeah, let's just talk about the display here. So what you get here is a 14-inch 2.2K resolution IPS panel with a peak brightness of 300 nits and a 100% sRGB coverage. Now, there are a couple of things here that are to be noted. Like, one of our biggest complaints with Realme's laptop was that it came with a glossy panel. So a glossy panel is, well, obviously more vibrant and more appealing to look at, but it does not handle sunlight that well. This thing, however, offers a matte anti-glare finish that works very well whether you're using it indoors or outdoors, so that's good. Secondly, once again, this is 100% sRGB, so using it for content creation is great, or even when you're watching movies, everything looks just the way it was supposed to be. Now, one thing that I would like to highlight is that on the Realme laptop, I did get a display with an aspect ratio of 3:2, which is something that I do prefer for productivity needs. But yeah, overall, I think this is not a bad option either. So yeah, all good. Alright, so moving along, yes, this thing does pass the 100 test. And yeah, moving along, let's talk about the keyboard here. Now, of course, it's a Lenovo laptop, so expectations were going to be very high, considering Lenovo is known for making excellent keyboards, and this thing does not disappoint. I mean, like I said, I can compare this to the Realme one, and Realme one is, well, basically a MacBook Air. So that is one kind of a chiclet keyboard, but then you have this thing. Like, Lenovo's island style keyboard is something that just appeals to almost everyone. Like, okay, here's the thing. So what MacBook and Realme and all those keyboards offer is that they're great for like rushing into typing and just jotting down immediate words, but they're not great for extended hours of typing. This thing works very well regardless of whether you're using it for sprinting through words or just writing long scripts like this one right here. I mean, the keyboard here is pretty much what you would expect from Lenovo, and it's quite similar to the ThinkPad lineup as well. So yeah, all good here. Also, you do get white LED backlighting here, which isn't the brightest out there, but yeah, definitely gets the job done. Below it, we have the touchpad, which once again is all positive. I mean, the palm rejection is pretty good, the gestures work fine, the surface is pretty good, and yeah, I mean, the overall size is also decent enough for a 14-inch chassis. So yeah, no complaints in the touchpad segment either. Alright, so next up we have the audio department, and a lot of you guys might think, and even I was thinking that, okay, this is very nicely done by Lenovo, where you have the speaker grill right next to the keyboard. Looks good, but like they say, looks can be deceiving. The actual speakers are right here at the bottom. That's, well, just for show. I mean, not exactly for show, but yeah, the actual output is coming from the speakers downward there. But to Lenovo's credit, the speakers here do sound very good. I mean, they are very well tuned, and they do get very loud. And I'm not just talking about when you are keeping the laptop on a surface where the audio bounces. And even in your lap, the laptop does sound very good and manages to get quite loud. So that's good. Also, there's support for Dolby Atmos on this thing, which is always an added benefit. Along, we have the camera here, which once again is deceiving. Right now we're recording in studio light, so yes, my face looks decent enough, but the frame rate is atrocious. More importantly, if you're going to be using this indoors and you don't have decent lighting here, this camera is very bad. So yeah, 720p camera, and anyway, it's kind of the standard for basic laptops, but yeah, this is not a good camera that I can easily use. So yeah, that's, in fact, hold on, can you just turn off this light, bro? Like right now you can see in a bit of normal conditions with just the sunlight coming on my face and no studio lights directly on my face, this is the kind of quality that you'll get. So yeah, this is very bad. Now the good part here is that regardless of that webcam quality, you still get 3D IR sensors here. So Windows Hello works very well on this. And personally, I prefer the face unlock version more than your fingerprint scanners. So yeah, that's good. Alright, so now let's talk about the performance. So our unit here comes equipped with the Intel Core i5-1135G7 processor coupled with 16 GB of DDR4 RAM clocked at 3200 MHz. For graphics, you have the Intel Z graphics, and you also get a 512 GB M.2 SSD storage. As far as overall performance is concerned, this is as good as it gets. A couple of things that could have been improved is the fact that the SSD you get here is M.2, not NVMe. So you might be able to get faster speeds if you switch to an NVMe SSD later on. But personally, I feel, considering that this is still an i5 processor, the package altogether is pretty good. I mean, it's still quite fast, no issues out there. And the laptop blazes fast through all of your daily tasks. I mean, I was juggling through multiple apps out there, whether it's Photoshop, whether it's Chrome, not Edge, Chrome, listening to music on Spotify and stuff like that, and everything worked fine. And the biggest factor for that is obviously the RAM here as well. Now, like I said, options like Realme and Xiaomi, they usually come with 8 GB of RAM, and this thing has a 16 GB DDR4 memory, so that's obviously good. And especially for Photoshop, I mean, all the thumbnails that you see in the last 1 month that have gone live on the GTR channel, the Guiding Tech English channel, and the GT Hindi channel, they've all been made on this machine itself. You know, that's a work of multiple layers, at least 20 layers, and everything has been handled by this laptop super easily, without any issues, without any heating issues either. So yeah, all in all, amazing performance. Now next up we have the battery, and the laptop comes with a 3-cell 56 watt-hour battery, and for charging, like I said, Type-C ports here, and the laptop also comes with a 65 watt USB Type-C charger. Now as far as battery life is concerned, I was averaging around 7 to 8 hours with this thing, which is slightly less than I would expect from a business machine. But then again, keep in mind that I was also using Photoshop extensively, so there's that. If I limited my Photoshop usage to maybe like 15-20 minutes, then yeah, I can surely stretch this thing for 9 hours, so that's good. And the best part here was definitely the charging factor, because charging this thing is super easy thanks to the Type-C port, like I mentioned. And obviously you can use that charger to charge up your other Type-C devices as well, whether it's your smartphone or your headphones or whatever. So yeah, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, USB PD should be the standard, and it's nice to see that manufacturers are finally adopting it. Alright, so the big question, is the Lenovo Slim 5i Pro 14 worth it? So if you go on Lenovo's official website, the model that I'm talking about starts at around 73,000. You can also configure this thing with up to an Nvidia MX450 GPU if you want. So that is if you want to take it over there, or you can even equip it with an i7 processor. I mean, if you're super serious about your content creation, or you maybe want to do some lightweight video editing on the go as well. So yeah, for those people, that option is also available. And for most folks, this base variant in itself is pretty good to go. Now, obviously, a lot of folks will say, why did I compare it with the Realme one? Well, the big thing that comes out is the fact that that pricing is on Lenovo's official website. If you actually go to one of Lenovo's offline stores, or you go onto Amazon and buy this thing is available regularly on a discounted price of around 65,000. So yeah, add in a card offer or something and this thing gets very close to your offerings from Realme or Xiaomi. And in that context, not only do you get the same panel as good as Realme's, because once again 2K resolution and 100% sRGB, you also get additional ports, same lightweight form factor, a laptop that looks quite professional, has a good battery backup, great performance, and most importantly, comes with a brand that is known for making good PC products. See, I don't mean to criticize Realme or Xiaomi. I mean, their products are amazing. But the fact here, as a consumer, you might be a little bit skeptical about spending 60-70 grand on their PC offerings when you're not sure about their service chain. With Lenovo, well, that factor is removed because Lenovo has one of the best retail channels and service channels in the country. So yeah, at the end of the day, you get an amazing machine that competes with the rest of the competition, but also offers reliability because of not just the brand name, but because they are actually proven to be very good in servicing and retailing. So yeah, and well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Van from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.